Hello everybody, MexZardX here. I'm back at it again to give you all the second round and the second part of what is to be our final discussion for our Dr. Stone Review All series. And this is the second part of all of the character discussion topics that we've been talking about with each character though. So if you happen to missed our first part where we talked about the first half of the characters that we talked about, you can go ahead and click that card in the corner and check that video out. And then you can come back and watch this one to get the second part though. But without any further ado, let's dive straight back into this character discussion. ゼロに達して今をかけて流れる赤い血のよ背を引いて殻を割って咲いた花の模様をつなげてし筆を持って取り戻してく命目に見えないルレがリコーリコールを探しに行く And I think there's really only one major person that we have to talk about next in terms of all the village people before we talk about a different group of characters. And that is our boy over here, Kasaki, aka, Mr. Goku the Second. Because this dude over here is like an old, feeble man. He looks pretty weak. He can't even do nothing though. But then somebody comes up to him and say, hey, we have a little project for you, a little building project or something like that. This dude just busts out, goes full buff mode and everything else. And he's like, oh yeah, let's go kick some butt now. And I was like, holy shoot. I was like, this dude was nothing to play about. And, for the most part, you didn't feel like he might have been a super, super important character though. But then they throw you that little bit of, they throw a little curveball at you at the very end. Because, for the longest time, they didn't, hit hugely on like a character development arc or something like that for him though. But then it was like towards the very end of the anime, you notice where he's actually building some stuff, and he's like, and they actually show his past about how he wanted to build stuff and build things of that nature, and he didn't have any kind of, he wasn't like a very social butterfly. He didn't have too many friends though, especially any kind of friends that could basically help him build anything or anything like that. So he was like, for the longest time, I didn't have like a building buddy, so to say though. But then it was like one moment where Chrome pointed at himself and Sinkin and say, hey, we're basically your building buddies now. That kind of brought a tear to his eye though. But I think that was something that was really needed from this character, who you might have thought he was like a really strong side character though, but he's probably one of the strongest characters that you might have thought that would have been originally a side character that you wouldn't have associated too much with, where he became a very likable character, especially with some of those kind of funny comedic effects that he does. But what do you have to say about him, Jony?
I mean, Old Man Kasaki is just Jesus. What I got to say about him? I think I did that review with you when they showed Kasaki's past, and Jesus. It wasn't a very complicated past story like it was with Senku or other characters. It was a simple one. He just loved to do crafting as a hobby or something, and he dedicated his life to it. He also made the bridge around the village so people could pass through it to enter and exit the village. And it was funny to see that an old man that was a professional craftsman that could do anything that anyone asked him, and the only thing the man truly wanted was a friend. And it was really great to see him finally realizing he got new friends, and overall he was a pretty interesting character. So I'll let you move on, Zard.
Alrighty, and I think that's almost pretty much it for most of the characters. I did not actually hit Magma. Probably try to start speeding this up a little bit, so I'll probably give a 1 minute spill over Magma though. But Magma, he was basically kind of like that bully kind of character within the anime though. And at first, he was really bent on becoming the village chief and everything else though. But then, Chrome basically, put that man in his place thanks to his little crazy little shenanigans within that tournament though. But overall, we just got to see how he basically went from being pretty selfish, trying to get what he wanted, but then started to become more so a team player whenever they try to get that tungsten when they needed to make those filaments for the light bulb battery. So overall, his character has been slowly growing and slowly progressing, where he became a somewhat kind of decent, likable guy. Not like my absolute favorite or nothing like that though, but it was kind of interesting to see how he developed over time though. Any quick thoughts on him, Jony?
No, I think you pretty much said everything about it. It was interesting to see his development, but I don't think it was really a very likable guy. It's just better as a side character, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what I was thinking about as well, though. But that's pretty much it in terms of all the village characters. And then now we get to jump over here to like the International Space Station crew, which real quick, there's really only like two super important characters out of all these different crews, though. But I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of briefly sum up for the lower tier kind of characters before I get to like the upper two. So you basically have Yakov Nikitin. He married Daria Nikitin, and then you also had Shamil Volkov along, and he's the one that actually got to marry Connie Lee. So basically you have those four members, and those four were the ones that basically got married, and they're the ones that basically left all the offspring that was left within the village that we now know within the Stone Age, though. But overall, with these four characters, they were pretty likable. They definitely had like a different little spin and stuff. At first you kind of thought that Shamil might have been like that sort of kind of standoffish kind of character, though. But it was some things thanks to Sinkin's dad that kind of flushed out his character a little bit more and made him seem like a little bit more a down to earth kind of character. Everybody was sort of kind of super positive and stuff. Nothing that like clearly kind of stand out each of them individually, though. But as they were together, and they basically were essentially a family after the whole entire petrification event happened down, though. But overall, this was like a really kind of nice little interesting taste that got to happen whenever we got to go through and experience this arc that basically showed, the telling moments of what actually happened from the petrification event, and, what kind of led to the establishment of the village, though. But did you have anything to say about those first four characters, Jony?
I mean, I just have to say that Shamil, I think Shamil was a very interesting character. I liked seeing, because he was a very serious guy that didn't give a crap about something that wasn't about work. And he turned out to be a really nice guy in the end that was happy about his life and everything. And I think it was pretty interesting to see that development, even though it was only in one episode. Mm-hmm. And that was really short. But besides that, I think it wasn't bad. I mean, if those four characters didn't exist, it wouldn't be the same. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Why don't we go forward and talk about the two main characters of that crew that are Senkyu's dad and the singer that I forgot the name, and I'm really.
And the singer is Lillian, which I've been calling her Diva Lillian because, the stuff that she's been putting on the table, though. But I'll go ahead and let you break down Lillian first, John. So go ahead and take it away.
Okay, so Lillian I'll start from the start of her story. She was a little girl and she was really poor, and she found a cassette player, song player, I don't remember what it was. But she grew attached to it because she liked playing songs and she loved it, and she started singing to little kids on the street that were her friends. And well, she grew up to becoming a singer because she loved music, and she was a really sweet girl. You can see that she looks a lot like Rudy. I mean, come on, they are practically identical. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they do look similar.
Yeah, they are the same. Come on, Sar. I think she was a really sweet girl. She's really funny as well. She had a great personality, and if you watch the anime, you can see that she really loves music, especially on that last episode of the anime. That Jesus, dude, that song really hit hard.
And let me go ahead and pick it up from there, because oh shoot, this woman knows how to sing, not sing, sang. And I was like, oh shoot, and I was like, wait a minute, I was like, this woman sang so good. I was like, dang, honestly, I hope they really release this OST of her just fully singing. And she sang so good. I had to do a little digging on this person, though, because originally, Diva Lillian's voice actor, if I can try to find where, yeah, here we go. basically her voice actor was Lin, from, you know, her Japanese voice actor though. But when it came to the singing, the actual person that actually sung those songs was Laura Pitt Pulford. She was the one that actually sung, and I did a little digging and researching on her, and she's basically like a sort of kind of actor, you know, within the real world though, and she actually originates from the UK. So I gotta say that major shout outs to Dr. Stone and this whole crew of being able, because, you know, Lillian is basically you know, she's basically like a songstress that came from America. However, you know, she knows how to speak a little bit of Japanese, hence how she was able to talk with all of these different characters, though. But the matter of fact, they actually, you know, the whole cast and crew of the people that actually made this anime actually went out of their way to contact a whole different person to actually represent, you know, somebody that can actually sing English really well and incorporate that into the anime. I just gotta say, you know, huge major props to them having that different kind of diversity within this anime. And that's one little thing that I really like within this anime, and one thing that really did shine though. But overall, Lillian was really cool, down to earth kind of character. She almost, not gonna lie, put me off at first whenever she first met the little introduction when she was in space, and she basically looked like she was gonna be like one of those like mean crazy old women's, and you know what I mean. I was like, oh, so she's gonna be that kind of girl. I was like, crap, there's so much potential wasted. And it's just like, nah, just kidding. I was just kind of putting on an act. I was like, oh, thank goodness though. But overall, I really like their character, and I don't think there's any much more to say about that though. But overall, this is somebody I really enjoy. And then now we're getting down into the main major characters from this point moving forward though. And we had none other than Senkun's dad. Senkun's dad. Oh goodness. Okay, so with Senkun's dad, this dude is in almost in every kind of single shape, way, form, and matter similar to Senkun himself. And I was like, dang, I was like, these two, even though Senkun's, you know, a little bit more of a brainiac though, you can definitely kind of see where it kind of originated from. And I was like, dang, I was like, you know, the relationship between these two, you know, it's not like the ideal son versus father where it's all like, you know, super kind of, you know, bros, you know, bro love me, you know, sort of kind of, you know, that close father-son relationship, because they kind of joke and tease around each other quite a bit though, as you kind of got to see, you know, later within the anime whenever Senkun did certain little things though. And overall, I just gotta say his character as a whole, it was just pretty enjoyable, and you know, definitely hit some very emotional heartstrings throughout multiple different episodes, whether it was within the International Space Station kind of art, or whenever they were actually able to hear his voice for the first time back in the Stone Age near the very end of the anime though. But that's all I got to say about him. What do you have to say, Jony?
So the only thing I have to say is that they were astronauts, yes, but they didn't work for NASA. They worked for JAXA. That was the Dr. Stone version of NASA. Jesus. Did I crack a laugh when I saw that they worked for JAXA? Jesus. When you talk about companies and anime, it's just funny how they changed the like 2 or 3 letters just not to get copyrighted or something.
Yeah,
Jesus.
You gotta do that, man. You gotta do it.
But yeah, besides that, it was great to see Byakuya, because, I mean, everything that he did when the world got petrified was readying for something that might happen in the future, because he definitely knew, he was absolutely certain that Senku would be able to break the petrification. He had so much confidence in Senku that he even left a recording that was straightforward for Senku. So, I mean, if that isn't a great father and son relationship, I don't know what is, because Jesus, that's a great father. And oh my god, that was so great to see him on the end.
Yeah, and overall, I've been really liking this father and the stuff they've been tying into the backstory kind of elements of, with his character and how that kind of related to the real world though. But that's pretty much it in terms of that space station kind of crew. And then we're getting close to the very end of all of these characters. And real quick, we got to talk about Homaru as well as Hyoga. And those are the only two main villains that we actually know of at this moment. We'll get to see more of the different villains going on until, what would be a season 2 of Dr. Stone though. But for now, we mainly have those two side villains right now. And Homura, real quick, wasn't too much to her. She was basically like a little bit of a spy. You can sort of kind of tell that she could be easily swayed in the future to kind of come to the good guys though. I'll just leave my little 2 cents on the table right there so you heard it from me first. But with her, it seemed like she was pretty sweet and kind of down to earth though, but it seemed like, you could actually do something where, it kind of feels like, at least with her, we didn't get too much about her personality and stuff to where we were able to actually say a whole lot about her. So I just basically kind of leave it at that though. But Hyoga, oh my goodness, this dude is a whole different kind of a beast. This dude rolled up in here with his own favorite weapon, and these big old baddie dudes that were around Tsukasa's like, hey, we can beat this guy up, we can rough him up. Let's go ahead and get this man. And Hyoga's like, ha, psych, and he pulled out that weapon and he played all of those people down on their backs. He was like, nah, you ain't gonna mess with me not one bit. And you can tell that this dude is gonna be a bad man Majima though. So Hyoga is probably like the second interesting, the most interesting besides the main character of the villain side of things that can actually bring something kind of crazy and cool to the table though. But that's all I have to really say about with these two though. Did you have anything to say, Jony?
What I want to say that I kind of disagree with you is it's about the girl. I forgot her name.
Homura.
It was Homura. Because you said that she might be in for something like betraying the bad guys, the Tsukasa Empire. I do not think that's true, because I remember again saying during the anime that Homura had a deep, how to say, I forgot the word, respect for Hyoga. And I think that that respect is not gonna make her betray the Tsukasa Empire. I think she will stay with them.
Okay.
I do not think that what she said is gonna happen. I do not believe it. So that's all I had to say. I think you pretty much covered everything on those two characters. And let's move on.
Alrighty, and then we have the very two last main important characters. Starting with the villain, we have none other than Tsukasa, the man, basically Tarzan on steroids. I've been saying this from the very beginning of the whole entire anime, because that second where this dude picked up a spear, Senku shot something at Tsukasa, he picked that sucker up, slammed it in the ground, twisted around on his pivot foot, and nearly punched really hard at Taiju, who Taiju knows how to take some hits because he's fairly strong himself. And I was like, oh shoot, this man is crazy. I was like, dang, I don't even know how in the world they're going to be able to stop this dude, because this dude, man, he can pull out all the mean stunts and everything like this though. But beyond his just physical might and his physical prowess, the thing with Tsukasa is, matter of fact, that he's not just like a crazy, bad, evil villain, just completely lost his mind. No, he has drive and a bit of motivation and a little bit of reasoning behind his methods. Because with him in this anime, the whole drive with him was, matter of fact, that, hey, during the regular modern time, there was like, overlords or whatever, people that, owned your rent, or people that were head politicians and stuff like that. Basically, the people that had the money and the power to do anything in life, really. Those people, he said, under his eyes, they were basically abusing his power. And he basically said, you know what, since, all of that has been, completely flipped upside down in the stone world, let's not go back to those bad times. Let's go to a time where everybody's going to be equal and everybody has a fair opportunity. And there's not going to be these big old walls that basically keep anybody from being able to get over it to get to a better life. So in those kind of ways, Tsukasa does seem to be a sort of kind of a logical villain, and I do like they took they took this kind of approach with Tsukasa. So that way he's not just like pure evil and, that's all there is to him though. But he has a little bit of method and motives and drives to his methods. So that's just something I really appreciate with Tsukasa's character as a whole though. But what do you have to say about him, Jony?
Something I have to say about our reviews and the discussion we're having now is that we've been saying something that I don't quite agree with. That is, we've been calling Tsukasa Empire the bad guys and the
Kingdom of Science,
kingdom, the good guys. But if we look a little better at the anime itself, it's not about bad guys and good guys, it's about ideologies. And in a stone world, you can't really talk about bad guys and good guys, because, I mean, in war there's no good or evil. It's just war, and two different sides. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about. And talking about Tsukasa himself, he was a really important character in the story. I mean, if it wasn't for Tsukasa, we wouldn't be on the arcs we are currently on in this anime, because Senku wouldn't have met the Ishigami village, and he wouldn't try to make the Kingdom of Science. He would still be trying to petrify people. And, I mean, we all know that early or late, he would find someone that would want to oppose him, but he found Tsukasa that opposed Senku, and now we're going for the Stone Wars on the next season as a result of Tsukasa being revived. So Tsukasa is becoming the main antagonist, and he's really important to the anime, so that's all I wanted to say. Oh, and also I have a theory that Tsukasa is gonna get like a disease or something in the winter and is not gonna show up on the surface. Imagine that happening. Just imagine he getting a cold or something and he doesn't show up in the lore. Jesus.
Yeah, because that is going to be interesting how in the world they're going to be able to fight Tsukasa. Because at this point in the game, the only thing that's going to really stop him is them actually making guns and actually shooting the man. Because I don't know how else they're going to be able to stop him, though. But it was a good thing that you mentioned the whole kind of war with ideologies and how there's not really a good and a bad. And, to a degree, yeah, that is pretty true, and I'm glad you kind of hit on it. My only thing that makes it says, the Kingdom of Science is good, and the Tsukasa Empire might be sort of kind of a little bit more on the evilish side, is the matter of fact that, Senkun has that good heart. He doesn't care who you are. The matter of fact that everybody's petrified. Everybody needs help to get out of that petrified state. So I say in Senkun's eyes, bringing back almost everybody is good in that kind of a manner. But then if you look on the Tsukasa side, the fact that he says, you know what, let's try to keep everything pure and let's not bring back these other kind of people, at least with me, in my own personal opinion, I was like, I don't care, if they're good or bad, unless, you're just just a madman that just kills people or something like that. I think everybody has an equal right and opportunity to come back to life and actually, change their ways. Maybe the Stone Age can actually change their opinions about, how they're going to be able to handle things, because they can't go back to the life that they previously were. But the thing that really upset me with Tsukasa and his kind of ideology was the matter of fact that, hey, you know what? If your ideas don't line up with me, I'm going to kill you. That's what really kind of put me at a split and said, you know what, Tsukasa might be sort of more so on the bad side. He might not be purely evil, so to say, but more so on the baddish side, because you say, hey, if someone doesn't have a good ideology with me, I'll just kill the person. And while Senkun says, hey, you know what, you don't have the same ideology as me though, I ain't necessarily going to try to kill you. Like, he's been trying to sway anybody else, as we saw with Gin and stuff like that. But that's just my own 2 cents. That's just all I have to say. That's a little rebuttal to what you just said, though. But overall, that's my overall thoughts on Tsukasa, though. But before we start talking about this mess all day, we got to get down to the main number one character.
Something that I have on my head right now, and I can't take it off my head, is, that Tsukasa is actually really smart.
Yeah, of course he is.
He's a tactician, of top tier tactician, and he is smart as heck. then why did he revive Gen? Because Gen is a mentalist. If he wanted a spy, he wouldn't have been petrified Gen, because he would have seen Gen's betrayal coming from a mile away. So why did he revive Gen?
And that's something really interesting too, because I can't remember exactly if he really knew the person or whatever. Though I think he sort of kind of pseudo knew him, but in different kind of places and scenarios, with this not being the modern world anymore, he might have found a way. He might have thought that he could have convinced him to be purely on his side, though. But people's agendas can change. You never are able to quite, predict the possibility of a portrayal or how a certain kind of events will just play out. And I think that's just sort of kind of the era that's just kind of like the unpredictability with this whole entire anime as a whole. You just never know what can actually play out next. And I think that was the sort of kind of things might have been running through both of their minds or something like that. At least that's just what I think.
The thing is, Gen is a mentalist, so Tsukasa should have predicted his betrayal. That's the point I'm getting into. And being a mentalist on the Stone Age, he's gonna be a formidable opponent on the Stone Wars. And I still don't understand why Tsukasa would revive someone that might betray him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's the reason behind it, unless there's something greater that he's running in the back of his mind that we're just not predicting as of this moment right now, though. But I think it's something that we might get to see, further along within the season 2. So I guess we just want to have to be patient and kind of see how things kind of play out in order for us just to kind of get our minds kind of wrapped around it, though. But that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Anything else?
No, not really.
Alrighty, and then lastly, we got the big number 1 main character, and that is none other than Senku. And I was like, oh shoot, this dude right here, dang, this man right here, oh my goodness, I don't even know where to begin. I'll let you go first, Jony.
Jesus, so Senku, oh my gosh. We're gonna take a lot of time talking about Senku, because his character development was the biggest in the entire anime. From the very start, when he got petrified and got on his head that he had to rebuild society from scratch and petrify everyone, from the very ending of the anime where he was receiving a message from his father from 3,000 years ago. And Jesus, Senku had some great development. And every single character in the anime helped build that development. And Senku is a really great character, and I think that reflects a lot on the fans of the anime. Because I think no one can pass through Dr. Stone without saying that Senku is a hella great character with a hella great development. And do you want to start talking about it?
Yeah, because this dude over here, oh shoot. Okay, so this dude, let's just talk about how he managed to stay alive all this time, because this dude had the wherewithal about himself to say, you know what, the second I went petrified, let me start counting the seconds until I'm actually going to be able to break out of this thing. He might have been thinking in the back of my head, say, you know what, I can get out of this in a day. Maybe it's 2 days, maybe 3 days. You know what, maybe at max, it might be a week. I don't know what in the world is this weird kind of petrification stuff, but maybe I can overcome it myself. And no, those days turn into weeks. Those weeks turn into months. Those months turn into years. Those years turn into, oh shoot, 10s or 20s to 30s. Shoot, it turned into thousands of years. And this dude was still counting the seconds as each day passed on, to the point that he broke out of the petrification. And I don't know about you, but when you're trying to count numbers and you try to get up to 1,000, and you start counting, beyond 1,000, you're going to get the numbers mixed up. And I'm like, the matter of fact that this dude had the brain power to be able to actually, keep his mind stimulated for this much time, basically says the strength of him, with his science and math skills, and basically kind of proved the point that this dude was the GOAT. This dude was the go-to MVP, and the reason why he's able to do all these different scientific stuff, because you got to see the power of his brain power just within those opening moments of him, being petrified all the way to when he got out. And he made so many different inventions. He made the glasses for Suika. He made he helped, once that water wheel was created, he created hydroelectric power. But before he even had the hydroelectric power, he was able to recreate copper and stuff, and able to kind of make electricity. But even before that, he was able to be the one to actually make that furnace and stuff, so that way they can be able to melt the raw materials, be able to create iron and stuff, be able to make stronger weapons for them and the thing. He was able to make greater advancements within the village in terms of, creating heating furnaces and stuff, so that way they don't freeze during the middle of the winter. And the list just keeps going on and on and on and on. And I was like, dang, the matter of fact, he was able to kind of bring back so many modern things back in this Stone Age like this. It makes you really question and really think about yourself. How much can this dude accomplish within his whole entire life by the time he finally kicks the bucket? I am very curious to kind of see exactly how many things he can be able to do and invent along with his friends from the start to the finish of his lifetime, though. And that was just a really impressive thing about this whole entire anime as a whole, through all the different things that Senkun has did, though. But I could say a whole lot more about his character, though. But that was just pretty awe-inspiring. All of that stuff that I just said in itself. Did you have anything else to talk on that, Jony?
So another thing that surprises me a lot about Senku is how he can make things that benefit him while making things that benefit others. Because he doesn't have to focus on one thing. He can focus on doing the best for the village and doing the best for himself at the same time.
Yeah.
And I find that incredible. And another thing that I have to say about Senku is his ability to captivate others. Not only as he captivated Taiju Yuzuriha, as he captivated the whole entire Ishigami village, but also as a viewer of the anime, how his story captivated me, you, and many other people. Because Jesus, is that a great story? Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I think that pretty much does it in terms of all of the different characters. So we finally were able to break down all of these different characters. So there was a lot to definitely there was a lot to talk about and discuss about and know, but we finally made it through all of these characters, so thank goodness. Hey y'all, Future Megazard X here, and that was basically it for the whole entire conclusion of what we thought about each individual character that it was shown throughout the whole entire Dr. Stone episode review series. However, that is not going to be it for our whole entire finale discussion, because for the very last part of this, what is going to be our 3-part series for this whole entire final conclusion for our Dr. Stone series, it's going to be mainly talking about our character polls and some questions that y'all have sent to us and that I got to sit down and answer, along with our breakdown of our favorite kind of arcs. So make sure to tune in for the very last part of our 3-part series for our final end-all discussion for Dr. Stone. So make sure to tune in for that, y'all. But remember, y'all, until whatever video I make next, see y'all.